Hey guys, this is Casual with the NerdHammer.net Battle Report, and this is a Kings of War Battle Report. I was in a tournament about 2 weeks ago, and I got a practice game in before the tournament at Adventurous Guild in Harrisburg, and I'm playing an old friend in the Warhammer community. He's been on Kings of War now for about 7 or 8 months, and he never looked back. So we decided to get a game, and I'm running the list that I was hoping to run in the tournament. And yeah, this this table's a bit obnoxious, but the guild was pretty crowded, so we didn't bother changing the table out. But here we go. On my left side here, I have a general on a Pegasus. I have a unit of scouts, another unit of scouts, a regiment of knights, and one of them has Pathfinder. Not sure which one. Here's my wizard. She has Bane Chant and Lightning Bolt and Inspiring. Up here on the hill, I have a a horde of ogre shooters with an ogre character who can fly in behind him. And over here, another unit of scouts, another regiment of knights. I got my horde of knights. These are the guys with Pathfinder, of course, now that I realize what I'm talking about. And another general on a Pegasus and another unit of scouts. So this list is very obviously movement heavy, knight heavy. I really like what the scouts bring to the table with the shooting for 100 points. They have nimble, movement 9, and they have 7 shots, and their nerve is a little bit higher than most chaff at 10, 12. Really like what they bring to the table. In this tournament, it's pretty much kill for all 3 games. There are some bonus points for scenarios, but it's only like tournament points. But kill is where you're going to get your most tournament points. It's a 20-0 system, like in Warhammer. And whatever the scenarios we play are worth, 3 bonus points or 6 bonus points. I don't think that has much of an impact, so I really want to come with a list that is kill. And the way I wanted this list to work was the ogre shooters with keen eye on them. They have a 36-inch range. They're hitting on 4s, 18 shots. They're a big threat in this list, and I tried to also have the big threat of the horde. Now, I understand, and I learned in this tournament coming up, horde of knights are tough to maneuver. I think I did pretty well because I knew the terrain was going to be kind of sparse, kind of like how we set up here. I think there was like 6 pieces of terrain, and they scatter 3d6, and they just can't come within 6 inches of each other, which I thought would be very big for the night horde. That way they can fit into smaller spots. But yeah, it's just kind of like a pre-cap to the tournament. Up here, he has a unit of his knights. This is the kin list, and he has a unit of Basusu harpies. And here is undead shooter guys in horde formation. This big guy here in the front, that's the unit of harpies. That's probably the Basusu harpies. Yeah, that's the Basusu harpies. 2 bolt throwers up on the hill. He has a caster here with Bane Chant. I don't know what else she had. A big horde of crossbows, and then he has Basusu, and then of course the flying Curse Pharaoh. I don't know how it is in other metas, but it seems like flying individuals are the absolute hotness in Harrisburg. I'm curious to know if that's kind of how things are in your neck of the woods, if it's kind of a Kings of War thing or just more localized to my meta. But man, our flying individuals are so nasty. Yep, Curse Pharaoh right there. And then on this side, he has another regiment of knights and another unit of harpies. So turn 1, I get first turn and I push up like this. So I'm going to use the general and my two scout units to threaten this side of the board. I really like that I could probably take this flank pretty easily, and so that I'm gonna use my shooting and what have you to try to take care of the harpies on this side and blow up his knights. And on this side, I just push up a little bit more cautiously. I'm going to try to use my shooting to get an advantage, at least try to take out his chaff so that when I get across the table, I won't be hindered by anybody, and not hindered the roll, but just redirected. So I'm keeping my Night Horde. I know that's a big target for him. I mean, he can shoot at my other chaff, and that's fine, but that I feel like that's a lot of crossbow shots wasted. And I'm staying in the woods here because, of course, I have Pathfinder, and I'm going to get that cover for him shooting into the woods. And my shooting, I do take off a unit of Harpies there, and I do some wounds all around. Take 2 wounds on Basusu, and I put 3 wounds on Basusu's gargoyles, but not enough to hinder them or not hinder them, waver them or kill them. So yeah, not bad round of shooting. So turn 1, Kin, and he flies the Basusu gargoyles over here to protect them behind the forest. He hopes to use them at a later time, and he starts pushing up here a little bit with his knights, being a little cautious of the distance between my horde and the rest of his units. He has a shooty list, and he needs to put the wounds on early and often and soften me up before I get across the board. I do have good screens in the scout unit, so I'm hoping that with some good screens and some right movement, I can get across the table there. He positions his knights as so, and here's just a mistake from, I guess, more so probably just being rusty from playing war games in general. I gave him this charge, and it's just not paying attention to my measurements and just haven't played in a while. So, yeah, there was no reason to give the Curse Pharaoh a charge there. There was no counter charges really set up. I mean, I guess my general, but it's an individual, so I can't even double attacks in the flank. So, yeah, that's just a poor play. I move those guys back an inch, and I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, so that indication, I just had Bane Chan on those guys when I shot at his gargoyle. So yeah, there's a picture of that. Basusu moves up to the center of the board, threatening, I guess, my ogre shooters. But yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with him. It's just a flying individual, so even if I go in, he just flies away. It's so annoying. So his shooting here puts 5 wounds on this regiment of knights. They are 15, 17 nerfs, so they are okay, no wavering, and only 2 wounds on the Night Horde, which I'm pretty happy with. Having them in cover definitely made a difference. And the Curse Pharaoh comes in and wavers this unit, doing 4 wounds to him. So I guess he rolled pretty good to waver him, right? I don't know. He had to roll 6 or 7. Yeah, so that's to be expected. So not sure what I wanted to do here. I just decided to countercharge with the general. Maybe, with this 4 wounds, who knows? Maybe I get lucky, but yeah, not the greatest. I don't think the greatest play, but what am I going to do? I'm just trying to lock down this flyer. And after I realized that you can't lock down flyers, I decided to not do that in the future. And over here, my knights decide to charge into Basusu. So again, thinking that I can hold them up, but really you can't. And these scouts move up to keep these knights in check. I'm going to try to get some shots off on them. And this is my back line. I just move around a little bit. Positioning in such a way that if Basusu goes into my wizard, I have a counter charge with the ogre general who flies. Yeah, so that's just kind of the way things are setting up there. On this right side, I put the general into the woods to give him some more options, and I move up with the rest of my knights. I'm using the screen from the scouts to hopefully start making some ground here against his shooting threats. And over here with some shooting, and I believe it was the ogre shooters who take these knights out. So that's great. I have this whole flank taken care of, but it's still a long distance to those crossbows, so I got to get working on them. And do some shooting over here. This was just some scout shooting. I do 2 wounds, and I wavered a unit. Basusu's gargoyles have regened, I think, too. So yeah, that's doing well. My general actually put 2 wounds on the Curse Pharaoh. That was, I guess, probably better than expected. I'm not 100% sure. He's defense 6. Yeah, I'm only crushing strength 1 on him, so yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. If the Curse Pharaoh's 6, I'm not 100% sure that's their defense. Might be 5. So hitting on 3s, yeah, that's about right. And over here, yeah, the Knights do a good job on Basusu. They get 9 wounds total, but nothing. I cannot do anything to him. I might have wavered him. I don't remember. So turn 2, Kin and Basusu does go back into the Knights. I guess he wasn't wavered. And the Cursed Pharaoh comes over and flanks the Knight Regiment also. And Basusu with the regen has taken back a lot of regen. I think about 3 points there. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to go with the Knights. They're just going to have to tough it out. He flies his Basusu gargoyles up over into the woods here. Not quite in my way, but he is there to be able to redirect. I don't have anything that can really shoot at him, and I'm just kind of focused on moving forward at this point. So take some shots here. Does 3 wounds. I think these guys get wavered. And now he's starting to open up on the Night Horde, and he does much better. He's up to 12 wounds. Their nerve is 21, 23. They don't get wavered, but that's starting to get a lot of wounds, and I have no way to take them off. Turn 3, Kingdom of Men, and I decide that my Knights hold, which was great. They weren't wavered. They do have 9 wounds on them. So I countercharge the Cursed Pharaoh, and I also charge in the Ogre, the Flying Ogre, into the flank of the Cursed Pharaoh, like such. And yeah. So now I'm starting to move in. I'm starting to realize that I gotta do something about all these shooting, and just going for it. So take the general over. I take the scouts over. If they shoot at the general, that's great because they're not shooting at these guys. So I'm gonna try to get in there, try to break that crossbow unit, and try to clean this up. On this side, I take the general and the scouts into the Furies, or the gargoyles, so I'm hoping to pop them pretty quick. I don't know if this is going to be enough. It got me a little worried, but there's not much else I can do. If anything, I have a good chance of wavering that unit. So, yeah, I'm just kind of hoping. They don't have Inspiring near them, so maybe I can just pop them in. I'll have to take a charge from the Knights, but he's going to have to decide to go into the general or the scout unit, so that should give me some room on this flank to maneuver my horde and hopefully get them into either the crossbows. I'm thinking the crossbows, and then reform, and I can go through the bolt throwers and go down the line. That's my plan. Over here, Basusu gets wavered with some shooting, has 8 wounds on him. I just cannot get this guy off of the table. The ogres didn't have any other targets in range, so I just decided to shoot at Basusu. I know he's individual, but my guys are hitting on 4s, and then individual mix some 5s, and I got 18 shots there. So I was just hoping to just to wound him, get him off this table. I'm so sick of these individuals holding everything up. I only do 4 wounds to the Cursed Pharaoh. Yeah, what can you do? I can't take care of these individuals. Kind of feels like Warhammer, doesn't it? Just characters are the strongest thing in the game, and you can take a regiment of knights in and not do anything. And a big ogre character that I probably paid. Well, I guess he wasn't that expensive, but I probably paid just as much as that Cursed Pharaoh anyway. Anyway, yeah. I don't believe when people say this game's completely balanced. I just don't believe it. So 4 wounds on the gargoyles here. I think they're wavered. I'm not 100% sure. 4 wounds. I only need a 5 to waver him. 7 routes him. Yeah, I'm not sure how that went. So turn 3 Kin, and because I could not take out this gargoyle unit, he is able to burn a turn of mine and get a good redirect here, and that is great usage of those gargoyles, and kudos to my opponent for doing that. I think that is a great move. And yep, so here Basusu just flies in behind, because why not? And Cursed Pharaoh goes back into the Knights. They have 9 wounds on him, so he's looking to pop this unit. And here he takes off one of my Knight regiments. Turn 4 Kingdom of Men. I decided to start bringing these guys back. I figure I should just keep shooting and try to force a nerve test on Basusu and his Cursed Pharaoh if she happens to just kill the rest of my knights. But she only did 1 wound on him. That's excellent. So I was on a 15, 17. He rolled under a 4 or under a 5, and I was inspiring. So that's great. I just go back into the Cursed Pharaoh yet again. And over here, his gargoyles go back into my scouts. No. My scouts go back into the gargoyles. I fly my general up in here behind to threaten these undead or Empire Dust crossbow guys. And my Night Horde just goes into Pazuzu's gargoyles, and they'll make quick work of them. And up here, I had a little opening that I could see his caster, and I went in at her with the general. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything to her, but maybe, get a lucky roll, something like that. Maybe waver so I can stop those Bane chants that have been absolutely tearing up my my knights. And I put the scouts into the flank of the crossbowmen. That should be pretty good. That should stop a round of shooting there while I try to get my Night Horde free to attack. I feel if the Night Horde gets another round on this table, I'm looking really, really good, I think. But I'm so new to the game that could be wrong. This game's really hard when it comes to walking up to a table and asking somebody, hey, how's the game going? Because you really don't know. You have no idea, because any wound just changes the entire game. One bad nerve check and it's over. So it's a little interesting like that. I kind of feel like I was down at this point, but yeah, I don't know. Over here, we finally get to Cursed Pharaoh after 18,000 turns of trying to kill her, and we just reface to face Pazuzu, which is pretty much pointless. But we just didn't want to take a rear charge, which really doesn't matter because it's an individual, and I gotta learn how to play this game. Over here, yeah, we do take care of the gargoyles and the other gargoyles, so my knights are ready to get shot in the face. And I do waver his caster, so that's great. No Bane chance at least. And over here I do 5 wounds. 5 wounds from the scouts in the flank. I like it. To the crossbows, who probably will just turn and face and countercharge. On his turn, Pazuzu goes into these knights. He's going to get them. He's determined. And I don't blame him, because it's probably going to happen on this turn. And his knights go into my scouts, and it's not a good day to be a scout, I don't think. And yep, over here his crossbowmen go back into my scouts. And his character just turns around and walks away, pretty much. Yep, Pazuzu does get my knights over here. And you can see my scouts, they all have wounds on them too. 4 on those guys. I mean, they're just one nerve check away from being gone, pretty much. And yeah, that's bad. So the knights get shot up, and they're gone. So that one unit of gargoyles was so important, and it got there and just burned that extra turn from me, and it really definitely made a difference. Turn 5, I don't know if this is me or him. Yeah, I think this is me. So I'm just moving the scouts and just trying to shoot Pazuzu, try to get him off the table. My ogre shooters are also shooting at him, trying to get him off the table. Over here, my general goes into a bolt thrower. This other general goes into the flank of the big skeleton bow guys. We're going to go with that. The good thing about these generals on this Pegasus are that they are not individuals, so they do get to double their attacks in the flank and the rear. So even though they only have 4 attacks, I am going to get 8 attacks there, hitting on 3s, crushing strength 1. I actually end up taking these guys out of my tournament list, and you'll see that as I produce the tournament reports later. And over here, yeah, we finally killed Pazuzu. That is awesome. And yeah, I don't have enough to take care of the crossbow guys. I do go back in here on this side with my scouts, but they're not going to be able to do much against this crossbowman at this point. And over here, I guess there's just some movement. And crossbows, yep, they take care of those guys. I mean, as you can tell, the game's pretty much wrapping up here. It's just cleanup duty. On my opponent's part 6, I just try to get everybody out, so at least I can conserve some points. From his shooting. Yeah, and that's the end of the game. I think it ended up being 500, 700 point difference. Maybe more. I don't know. Actually, probably a little bit more. But yeah, it was a great game. It's always nice to play my opponent Jay. He's a really good guy and a great player. I think he did pretty well at the tournament too, with the same list. So yeah, I did do a couple tweaks. I took out the ogre character. I took out my two characters on pegs. I ended up putting a little bit more shooting in a form of war machines, which I feel was a mistake. I don't think war machines are the call in this game. I was just trying to. The flyers were in my head after this game, and I wanted to do something about them. But yeah, it was a good game. It was a good practice game. It was good to knock dust off of some tabletop gaming. And I have two battle reports from the tournament coming up. My camera or my phone actually, the batteries died towards the end of the second game, and I had 3 batteries that I took with me. And apparently, my wife put all the dead batteries in the charge battery box, and none of my batteries, none of the batteries I had for my phone worked. So, yeah, it was disappointing. But I do have 2 battle reports coming up after this on the tournament, and then I can explain kind of what happened in Game 3 of the tournament in the second report. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a little bit of delay since I got these out, but I'm definitely going to be getting some more Kings of War games. I'm looking to kind of transform my Empire, Death Heads, Kingdom of Men army into a Basilian army. I kind of like what they bring to the table, and it's going to give me an opportunity to paint up a dragon and some phoenix, which I really love painting some big models. I'm redoing all of my Bretonnian men-at-arms to be men-at-arms for the Basilians, and some paladin ideas I have coming up for them. So I feel like that's a really strong army with Iron Resolve and the heals that they can bring to the table. So, and I'm not painting any more knight regiments ever in my entire life with how many that I painted. So I'm just gonna try to fit my regiments, my knight regiments, into whatever mold they need to fit into for Kings of War. So, guys, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.